love crochet projects that are reversible as much as I do? Hi, I'm Susan Lohman, the Crochet Architect. I've got a special stitch pattern to share with you today to make your projects reversible. So let's get started. I brought some of the reversible scarves that I've designed. As you can see, each one of these scarves is completely reversible. The back side looks almost exactly the same as the front side. And I designed these many years ago, but actually before I designed these, I designed a baby blanket that's reversible. And I don't have it here today because I donated it, but I would like to show you some photos of that blanket. The first one that I made was using some multicolored yarn. And the second one I made just last year was with some solid colors. Now, I said I donated these blankets, and I did. I donated both of them to a hospital where my daughter-in-law works as a labor and delivery nurse. These blankets, being rainbow colors, are for rainbow babies. And if you don't know what a rainbow baby is, it is a baby who's born to a couple after they've lost a previous baby. And if you'd like to know more about rainbow babies, I'm going to put some links in the video description for you to check out and find out how you might get involved in this as well. The reason why they're called rainbow babies is because rainbows symbolize hope. Many years ago, my husband and I lost our second child, so our third child was considered a rainbow baby, but the term rainbow baby had not been used yet. Okay, I'd like to go over some basic information about this reversible, not technique, but this set of stitches that makes these projects reversible. Each of these projects, whether it's the scarf or the baby blanket, uses basic stitches. So we've got chains, single crochets, half double crochets, and double crochets. These double crochets are actually called spike double crochet because they're not worked in the previous row, they're worked in the row below that, which in a lot of patterns is called 2 rows below. Now, each one of these patterns will alternate between a dark color and a light color. So you'll always alternate your colors in the rows. But you're not going to finish off at the end of each row. You're going to work 2 right side rows and 2 wrong side rows. So you'll use a stitch marker to keep that loop in place so it doesn't pull out while you're working the other color. And I'll demonstrate this in just a minute. To start each of the rows after rows 1 and 2, we'll chain 2 and turn and work our next row. So those chains will just be hanging off the end, but each of our projects will have an edging which will cover up those chain 2 spaces so there's no chain 2s sticking out there and looking bad. The edging covers it up and makes it look nice and neat. Each of the projects will have either 1 round or 3 rounds of edging, and the instructions will tell you how to work that edging. Now, each of these scarves is worked slightly differently, as you can see. Each pattern will tell you what rows to work, what color to work, and how to work each row, so you can have a different look for each of the patterns. Okay, let's get started with the demo. I'm going to start with my light color first, but it doesn't matter whether you use your light or dark color. If you're following a pattern, you want to use what's in the pattern. So we're going to start with a slip knot, which is pretty much how we start all projects. And we're going to insert our hook and tighten that slip knot. So row 1 on each of these projects starts with chaining an even number of chains. So I'm going to chain 8. Let's see if that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to work single crochets across. So we're going to insert our hook in the second chain from the hook and single crochet there. And we will single crochet in each remaining chain across. Now I know that some people like to insert their hook in just the top loop. That's fine if you do that consistently all the way across. I like to work in the top loop and the back bump, which is called different things in different patterns. So that gives me a little bit more stability on my chains so they don't pull out and get kind of wonky. And sometimes in patterns you'll see that you work in the back bump, but we don't need to do that in this because we're going to have an edging all the way around. So 1 single crochet in each chain across. Here's my last chain. So I'll work my single crochet there, and I'm going to double check now and see that I have an odd number of single crochets since I started with an even number of chains. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's correct. Now we're going to change to our dark color next for the next row. So what we want to do is secure this loop with the stitch marker so that when we pull on here, our stitches don't get pulled out. So that's a great use for stitch markers when you're changing colors back and forth. And you don't need to finish off your ends. We're not doing mosaic crochet. So that's row 1, and row 2, now we're going to bring in our dark color. So we're going to also start row 2 with a slip knot on the hook. And we're going to join this color with a half double crochet in our first stitch. Sometimes this is called a standing half double crochet. I call it join with a half double crochet. So we've got our slip knot, we yarn over, we insert our hook in the front and the back loops and pull up a loop. We have our 3 loops on the hook, and we yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And that's our standing half double crochet or join with the half double crochet. So next we are going to chain 1 and skip the next stitch, and then we'll half double crochet in the next stitch. And this is what our repeat will be all the way across the row. We'll chain 1, skip 1, and half double crochet in the next one. So chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet. And as long as you have your odd number of single crochets in row 1, row 2 will come out correctly, beginning and ending with a half double crochet with the chain 1 space in between each half double crochet. So we're going to drop our dark color and take another stitch marker and put it in that loop. Okay, those stitches are not going to pull out. So now we're ready for row 3. So let's take our stitch marker out of the loop of row 1. Let's make it a little bit bigger so it doesn't get pulled out when we do that, and put our loop on the hook. And I always like to have, whoop, this is my tail, that won't work. I always like to have the leading edge at the front where my yarn is here. I don't like to have my loop on the hook backwards where my leading edge is at the back, because that twists the chain. So to start row 3, we're going to chain 2. And that's how we're going to start every row after row 2, rows 1 and 2. And then we're going to turn our work, and we are going to do our stitches across on row 3. So our first stitch on row 3, we'll get that out of the way, is a single crochet in the first stitch, which was our last half double crochet. And on half double crochets, the loops don't sit quite straight above the bottom of the stitch, okay, the post of the stitch. They are a little bit to the left when you're looking at the back side, and a little bit to the right when you're looking at the front side. It's actually more confusing when you're working on the back side, because sometimes you want to go in here, but that's the half double crochet. So this is our loop that we pulled up, and this is our half double crochet right here. And we're going to do a single crochet in our half double crochet. And then we're going to do the part that makes this project reversible. We're going to do a spike double crochet, which is sometimes called double crochet in the stitch 2 rows below, which is what my patterns say. So either one works just fine. So you will start your double crochet with the yarning over and insert your hook, not in our previous row, but the row below that. So that's 2 rows below. And insert your hook from front to back. You don't want to insert your hook in the front and come back out the front. You want to come out the back. Okay, so you're going to pull up your loop, and now you'll have 3 loops on the hook. You want this loop a little bit taller because you don't want this scrunched up double crochet. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And then here's our next half double crochet. This is the top of that stitch. Our chain 1 space was covered up by our spike double crochet. So we will single crochet in that half double crochet, and we'll do another spike double crochet. So yarn over, insert our hook from front to back, and pull up a loop, make it a little bit taller, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops on the hook. And if you see, the spike double crochet makes a nice vertical line with the color that you're working on over the horizontal line of the opposite color. You see it on the front and you see it on the back. So that's what makes this project reversible. And this is what we're going to do across. We're going to do our spike double crochet and our single crochet. So we're ready to do our last repeat of a spike double crochet. Make sure that our hook is at the back, coming out the back. And pull up our loop, make it taller. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Now as you work all these spike double crochet, you're going to naturally know how high up to pull that beginning loop after you insert your hook. So it just takes some practice. So our last stitch of the row is a single crochet in the last half double crochet. And that's how we work row 3. We will take our stitch marker and put it in that loop so those stitches don't get pulled out. Now if I was going to demonstrate further, I would turn my work. I would remove this stitch marker and put my loop on the hook and chain 2 and turn, and then I would be ready for the next row. So whatever project you're making, using spike double crochets will help make that project reversible. I hope you've enjoyed learning this stitch pattern to make your projects reversible. You can use this stitch pattern with any weight yarn and size crochet hook that you'd like to make your projects unique. If you're interested in any of the patterns that I've showed you today, they're available for sale on my website. All the scarves and the baby blanket. Each pattern is completely written and includes a symbol crochet chart. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and happy reversible crocheting to all of you. The yarn that I used for the baby blanket was Yarn Bee, Yarn Bee Sweet Delight. You recording?
Yes.
Okay.